Math is everywhere, and you're about to learn some of it. Here we go with our next video lesson. Today's topic is converting fractions to decimals. Wait a second. Isn't that the same thing that we did last time? Oh, yeah, last time was converting decimals to fractions. This time is fractions to decimals. It's the same thing we did last time, it's just backwards. So, grab your calculator and let's get ready to roll. No, really. Grab your calculator right now. You're going to need it. Here we go. All right, let's review. We know what a rational number is. A rational number is any number that can be written as a fraction. So here's some examples. 2/3, -1/111th, 7, -17, and 0.25 are all rational numbers. They're rational because they can be written as a fraction, but they can also be written as decimals. So what we're talking about today is how to take fractions and turn them into decimals. Here's an example. What if we had 3/4? You might already know what the decimal version of 3/4 is, but we're going to talk about how to do that conversion. We're talking about how to convert a fraction like 3/4 into a decimal. And the rule is really simple, and it goes like this. To change a fraction into a decimal, divide the numerator by the denominator. There's only one step, there's only one thing you need to do. Divide the numerator by the denominator. In this case, that's the 3 divided by the 4. Okay, make sure you don't do it backwards. It's got to be 3 divided by 4, not 4 divided by 3. That means if you set it up long division style, you've got to put the 4 into the 3, not the 3 into the 4. So you're going to do something like this. Does 4 go into 3? No. We're going to have to line up the decimal and realize that 4 does go into 30. How many times? 7. 7 times 4 is 28. What do we do next? Oh, we subtract, and then 30 minus 28 is 2, and then we drop the 0, and then we go, okay, does 4 go into 20? Oh yeah, 4 does go into 20 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20. We subtract, and again, okay, we got a 0, so we're done. How do we know what our answer is? Well, once we're done, we see our answer up there, and our answer is 0.75. So converting 3/4 into a decimal gives us an answer of 0.75. And that makes sense because another way to say 3/4 is 3/4. And how much money do you have if you have 3/4? Well, you've got $0.75, aka 75 cents. All right, now this was doing it the hard way, but you could have done this whole problem much quicker if you just used a calculator. Just punch in 3 divided by 4, and what's the calculator going to tell you? 0.75. And it's all a one-step process. Divide the numerator by the denominator, which is a fancy math way of saying top divided by bottom. If you can remember top divided by bottom, you got this whole lesson down. Let's do another example. If you wanted to convert 1/5 into a decimal, watch how easy this is. Bingo! 1 divided by 5 on your calculator gives you your answer, and you're done in about 3 seconds. 0.2. Voila! Easy as that. Let's try another one. 17/20. What are we going to do? 17 divided by 20 or 20 divided by 17? We're going to do top divided by bottom. 17 divided by 20, you've probably punched it into your calculator already. 0.85 is your answer. Let's try one more just for fun. Convert 17/9 to a decimal. Does this work on improper fractions? Sure, it always works for any fraction. 17/9. Do 17 divided by 9, punch it into your calculator, and uh-oh. Did you try it? Did you get a bunch of 8s filling up your whole calculator screen? That's okay. There's a better way to write this, and you probably already know the trick when you have repeating decimals. You write it with a little line over the 8 to show that the 8 repeats over and over and over, and over and over and over, and over and over and over, and over and over and over, forever and ever and ever. We call this kind of a number a repeating decimal. Why? Because it repeats forever. What's the 0.85 up there in green, though? That's not a repeating decimal, right? No, because when you do 17 divided by 20, it doesn't repeat. It just ends. So what do you call a decimal that doesn't repeat? A decimal that just ends? We call it a terminating decimal because to terminate means to end. So terminating decimals, repeating decimals. Either one, both rational numbers. That's basically the two kind of answers you're going to get on these types of problems. So I've got a couple practice problems for you. The first one, convert 7/8 to a decimal. If you have your calculator with you right now, you could probably finish this problem before I even finish talking. But the other thing I want you to do once you do this conversion is answer this question. Is it terminating or is it repeating? Make sure to write that in your notes. Okay, here's your second practice problem. Practice problem number 2. Convert 14/15 into a decimal. And again, answer the question. Is it terminating or is it repeating? There's your lesson for today. There's your practice problems for today. I only have one more thing to tell you, and it is there's a way you can check your answers on these to make sure that you've done it right. And I want to use our first example problem where we converted 1/5 into 0.2. Remember yesterday's lesson when we converted decimals into fractions, we would take 0.2 and we would say that's 2/10. We just turned a decimal into a fraction. But you can reduce 2/10 by dividing the top and the bottom both by 2. We can simplify it into 1/5. And oh, hey, that's what we started off with. We took 1/5, turned it into 0.2, and then we turned 0.2 back into 1/5, which means we did it correctly. Check, nailed it, out.